These protesters in Ramallah burned an Israeli flag with al-Jazeera written on it after the network broadcast reports based on what it says are hundreds of leaked documents. The documents covered conversations among Palestinian, Israeli, and U.S. negotiators and suggested that Palestinian Authority negotiators were willing to make important concessions on the issues of Palestinian refugees and Jerusalem, including handing over all but one of the Jewish settlements adjacent to Jerusalem on land claimed by the Palestinians. During a visit with Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas called the report a mix-up.
What is meant is to mix things up. I have seen what the TV channel broadcast. I say here expressly that we have nothing to hide. This is what all Arab countries, all together and unilaterally know. In all our negotiations and meetings regarding any issue that we discuss, we submit it all to the Arab countries backed up by documents.
The leaked transcripts, according to Al Jazeera, show that Palestinian negotiators proposed allowing the compound that includes the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Islam's third holiest site, to come under international control temporarily while a permanent agreement is reached. And on the sensitive issue of the right of return of several million Palestinian refugees, the documents reportedly say Palestinian negotiators suggested that Israel should accept only 10,000 refugees a year for 10 years. The Palestinian Authority has insisted publicly that all refugees have the right to return to Israel. According to Al Jazeera, Israel turned down the offers, saying they were inadequate, and it proposed transferring Arab citizens of Israel to the future Palestinian state. Analysts on all sides said resuming the stalled Israel-Palestinian peace negotiations would become more difficult now.
I think this is the last bullet on the peace process and the negotiation.
In Washington, State Department spokesman P.J. Crowley said the U.S. remains committed to a Palestinian state living alongside Israel.
It doesn't change our understanding of the challenge, and it doesn't change our pursuit of a framework agreement. We're going to continue to engage with the parties, see if we can't narrow differences that do exist, and continue to move them towards a framework agreement.
At a forum in Washington Monday, Jordanian Foreign Minister Nasser Judah said all sides should disregard failed strategies and, in his words, think out of the box.
Instead of talking about parameters, let's talk about a blueprint or a plan or a timeline or benchmarks. Let's, for example, put a deadline on a discussion over borders rather than say, okay, settlement freeze and, up for grabs. We've had too much process and not enough peace.
Al Jazeera says it will publish more documents in the coming days, including some that it says show pro-Israel positions taken by the Obama administration. Robert Raffaele, VOA News.
I found some myself.